Hi, this is Daniel Yoxheimer, and I did a True Blood video yesterday discussing, or I think it was yesterday anyway, the True Blood video before the final episode of True Blood, the conclusion to the series, and I just finished watching it, and, as it originally aired. It started at 9. It ran a little longer. It ran about till probably like 15 minutes longer than normal run of an episode. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I was very disappointed in it, and I thought it was very trite. And I mean, I was cautiously optimistic about it. I thought some of the cool stuff that they hit some good notes this season. I thought, okay, well, they can't, they're not gonna, and the stuff that they did. I mean, I even predicted some of it, like the stuff that happened with Eric and Pam, and they became. And if you haven't seen the episode, of course, if you stumble upon this video, I doubt many people will see this video, but if you do see it, it's lost spoilers because I'm going to talk about the whole episode. The episode starts out with Bill and Sookie talking about, Bill was talking to Sookie about why he wants to die, of course, and we've been going on about this, and this thing is fucking dragging. At this point, I wish Bill had just exploded like 2 episodes ago. I am sick of his whiny, heavy fucking story. I'm so sick of it. And it's not that I hate Bill as a character, it's just all it was him. And it's like he keeps he didn't, of course, as if you've seen the episode, he doesn't just die from the Hep B, what happens. And I'll get to that. So he's just telling Sookie this, and Sookie's still upset, even though all the shit Bill put Sookie through, all horrible things in the past 7 seasons, or at least 6, or now Bill's Mr. Sensitive again. I mean, he went from being kind of a shady, I don't know where we stand with this guy vampire, to that is my phone, sorry, he became a vampire monarch. He became vampire king of Louisiana. He, of course, he became a maker. He made Jessica. That was the end of the first season. He was kind of a dark, he was a vampire, and then they do all these flashbacks this season where he's he's basically rediscovering his humanity more and more. What he said Sookie helped him kind of realize again. It reawakened his humanity early on in the series. That's kind of one of the things he touched upon. So, anyway, in this episode, Hoyt and Jessica show up at Bill's after. Okay, well, let's get to Pam and Eric. Pam and Eric, all of a sudden, just, hey, we're gonna free Sarah Newland, but Pam gives Sarah Newland her blood so they know where she is, because she's gonna be scared the whole time, and so Pam can find Sarah Newland. So they let Sarah Newland go out the back tunnel, which has been this tunnel's been like a major plot point for the whole season. That the Akuza, basically these freaking mob Japanese ninjas didn't know about, and Gus. So they basically, do what they could have done in any episode. They go and they fly over to the back of these guys and who have guns, and they snap their necks like that. So Pam and Eric take those guys out, and Gus goes up the tunnel, and then Eric pulls up a big can of gasoline and just, burns them, just sends a fireball or whatever up the tunnel and just incinerates Gus. And then that's like kind of the only, as far as an action point, from an action standpoint, it's the only real action in the episode when it comes down to it. And then usually in an episode of True Blood, they go back and forth a little bit. So, okay, we get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Okay, we get a little bit of stuff that's going on with Hoyt and Jessica, because Hoyt and Jessica go to Bill, and Bill wants to see Jessica get married, long story short, because he never got to see his daughter off in his human life. So, I mean, he's just so sentimental and mushy and stuff, and because of his declining health. And so Hoyt and Jessica get married. I don't even want to fucking talk about it. It was just some wedding, and it dominated the entire, most of the episode. Most of the episode is devoted to Hoyt and Jessica getting married. And Hoyt wants, guess what? Jason to be his best man. After he punched him. Freaking cold-cocked him. And he's like, yeah, I want you to be my best man now. All is forgiven. You know, because Hoyt doesn't remember any of that shit anyway, what happened. Because he was glamored by Jessica. And really, would you want to... I don't understand why I thought it was dumb they got married, because really, would you all of a sudden, right off the bat, you're just coming into town, you ditch your hot girlfriend for a vampire who fucked around on you and then erased your memory, even if it was his request. I mean, how would he even know if it was at his request? So anyway, they get married, and in the midst of all of this, Bill takes Sheriff Belfleur, Andy Belfleur, into his office, and basically, I mean, he's the only heir that he can leave his estate to, so he leaves in the house and asks them to rent it to Jessica and Hoyt for like $1 a month, and who cares, It's just basically it's just a way to give them the house, and then blah, blah, blah. And we don't see Pam and Eric or what's going on with them at all, okay? Basically, you see at one point, Pam finds Sarah Newland at the carousel where Eric turned Willa. And so Pam, takes a bite into Sarah, so she's vaccinated, she won't get Hep V at all ever. And after Sarah Newland pleads with Pam to turn her into a vampire, because there's really nowhere else for Sarah Newland to go, she's fucked. So she doesn't, of course Pam doesn't, fulfill that request, and that's the last you see of that. And then the rest of it's just wedding planning and kind of this whiny shit with Bill dying slowly and all of that, and Bill asked Sookie to use her fairy, her fairy power. It's the final, thing. If she forms that fairy sort of, it's kind of like a mini sun in a way, and just supernovas Bill and kills her, and that would, basically exhaust her fairy powers, and she'll just be normal, and no vampire she'll never be vampire bait anymore. So she just, and I'm just going to get right to it. I don't even want to talk about a lot of this shit, because it's just pointless. It's just a stupid wedding, which sucked. It was just a fucking wedding. And Jessica just about half doesn't even seem sure she wants to get married. She's just kind of sitting on the steps, but she does, and it just seems so like, it seems very forced, and it didn't work. And I don't even know why Andy Belfleur is going back, and a lot of these people are going back to Bill's house and being a part of this. I mean, Andy Belfleur is officiating over the wedding of the vampire, the female, or Jessica, vampire Jessica, who killed 3 of his fairy daughters. Are you fucking kidding me? So, anyway, after this all happens, Bill's getting sicker and sicker, so they plan this, and they managed to plan a wedding in one day. They managed to throw together a wedding and then a funeral, because they go to Bontemps Cemetery, the cemetery between Sookie and Bill's house, and Bill's dug up his grave which was dug for his human, because they assumed he was dead during the Civil War, and Sookie can't use her fairy powers because she wants to keep them, because that's part of who she is, because she talked to the Reverend guy. Is it Reverend Daniels? I don't know. Anyway, the Reverend guy, they just, again, just visiting a character on the way out, and that's what this is. They're just visiting some characters on the way out, It very, blah blah, just blah. It's this episode is very vanilla. It's just anyway. So she keeps her fairy power. She doesn't do it. She doesn't blast him, but she goes down there. Goes down to where Bill is laying in the coffin that he opened up and found the picture he took with his daughter, which was taken earlier in the episode and it's in a fucking flashback. Surprise. So Sookie and Bill both grab the stake, and it was at least the one cool part of the episode, and just fucking no more Bill Compton. Thank God. Got rid of him. So that's fade to black, and then like Sookie's just walking out of the cemetery and all covered in vampire goo, and just you can almost like, and then she starts kind of walking up the road, and it fades out, and you kind of want to whistle like the theme from Andy Griffith, like just it would have been almost appropriate. Just that's what it reminded me of. It was very. I mean, it wasn't real much of a payoff there, and then Flash and then at the end they do the sort of let's go to the future, and then I think it was like a year later, and Eric and Pam have an infomercial for New Blood, which has Sarah Newland on the can, and it's some can, and it looks like a Four Loko can or some shit, and so So they're selling this, and he's just a cold CEO and making money, and they show him at the New York Stock Exchange, and then they're back at Fantasia, and they got Sarah chained up in the basement, and they're charging like $100,000 to bite her and get cured, and I guess I would assume it has to be a very secret thing, otherwise they're not going to sell the stuff that isn't really the cure-all, it's just the treatment. And Eric's just, sitting there at the throne again. This is 3 years later, and he's just, whatever, and he's just Eric. It's just at Fantasia, and that's pretty much where we leave Eric. And then, boom, let's go to Sookie's house, and guess what? Everybody's at Sookie's house at a big long table outside. There's lights hanging in the trees, and everybody's there, and and Sookie is as pregnant as can be, and Hoyt and Jessica are together, and Bridget and Jason are together, and they had kids, and Sam shows up with Nicole and their daughter, and then you just see Sookie pregnant as hell, and it did that, and it did. Oh, I was so pissed off. Sookie goes to the end of the table, and you see her like embrace a guy whose face you don't see, just some guy who's got like a beard, just some really generic from behind guy, sits down, fade to black. That's it. That's the end. That's the end of True Blood. I couldn't fucking believe it. I mean, if it was like the episode, if to some extent, if it was a wedding episode in that season, like maybe the episode before the final episode, the cool one where there's some, action, it's, but I just found it very unsatisfying. I thought it was a complete, I thought it was a lot of just, it was very trite and predictable. There was no twist to it. That's the thing, no twist. No dark twist, nothing. It was just an ending. That's what they basically did. They just basically didn't twist, nothing. No twist. It was really, I could have, it was a terribly written episode. It was awful. It was the worst episode of True Blood ever, I think. The only thing that was good about it was Bill got staked and he blew up, and that was like kind of cool to see that maybe, but that's about it. Just because I got sick of seeing him sick and walking around. I mean, they could have, there was just no twist. They didn't do anything. I can't even think of what a good twist would have been, but it certainly, it was awful, and I think that's all I have to say about it. They did not do, it was a very, for a woman, I mean, I guess some girls would like that. episode because Sookie's not she's got the life Bill wanted her to have, but overall it just is just as a good episode of True Blood, and like in the spirit of some of the best episodes of that show, it failed miserably. It really did. And it should have just to me the end of that show could have been the entire cast just giving us the middle finger. Really, that's what it was. So that's my review of the series finale of True Blood. I'm sorry I didn't like it. It really actually, I mean it left a stake in my heart, I guess is the best analogy to use. It was bad. And that's all I have to say about it. So, leave your comments or whatever, what you thought about the show. I'd be interested to, hear about your thoughts and everything. If you think I'm full of shit and it was the greatest episode or the greatest series finale ever, hey, write about it. I'll be interested to hear your comments. Thanks. Bye.